What's up? Tyler, Keith, plugged on.
Hello.
We're here with an album review. We're going to talk about the new album from Trivium titled What the Dead Men Say. It's their 9th album, followed up to 2017's The Sin in the Sentence. Trivium's been around for a little bit at this point. The Sin in the Sentence was a great album, and kind of, to me, a return to form for Trivium. Not that, Vengeance Falls, for example, was a bad album. It's just The Sin in the Sentence got back to them being a little more aggressive, back more their earlier days, and still a great album to me.
Yeah.
I feel like this album sort of came out of nowhere. I wasn't really following them too much of, are they working on a new album or anything? And then all of a sudden, they were teasing new songs and put out Catastrophist and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. I can be down for some new Trivium. Why not? What did you think of this album?
All right, I might drop a hot take. I'm going to preface this by saying I do like this album. I do really like this album, but I can't help but feel maybe a little bit disappointed. Not because this album's bad, but from... I think the best way to put this is every Trivium album is like they're trying something that's a different idea. You know what I mean? Whether it's being super progressive on Shogun or the changing up the vocal styles on Vengeance Falls and Silence in the Snow, or being more thrash metal on the Crusades. It's like every album's they're mixing up their sound, and even though technically maybe they didn't do anything new per se on their last album, it was new because it was the culmination of everything that Trivium was. But I mean, this album's good, and I think it's the refining of the sound that they sort of developed on their last album. But I can't help but be disappointed that there wasn't that new, at least I didn't really pick up any on new, sticking points. Like, they're trying something completely brand new on this album, just a new idea. And this wasn't, which is a little bit of a disappointment to me personally. I mean, you guys have a completely different opinion and think I'm stupid, but I do. Because
your opinion, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I do thoroughly enjoy a lot of the tracks on this album. I mean, the title track, I fucking love the title track. Yeah. Either that or Among the Shadows and the Stones. They're probably my two favorite tracks from the whole album. Which is another thing. This is I feel it's a very front heavy album, but because not that the rest of the album is good, but I really like the Catastrophist. Okay, the Catastrophist was. I don't know how to feel about that song. I thought that song was a little weird when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way a bit. But I like Bleed Into Me and The Defiant and Sickness Unto You. And the last three songs they're good. The ones We Leave Behind's a cool closing track, but they don't grab me as much as the first couple of tracks. Matt Heafy sounds good on vocals. His screams sound, at least in a couple songs, they sounded different. To me, at least. Almost more towards like a Lamb of God style in some ways in how he sounds. Something that's to me. But everything's just good. There's a lot of good solos and leads and whatnot on this album. I think there's a lot of heavy shit on this album. I think of Sickness Unto You. There's a pretty heavy part in that song that I thoroughly enjoy. But it's a solid Trivium release. It's just from their past record. When I was like, Trivium's putting out a new album. All right, got maybe my hopes up a little bit too much. But it's still, I thoroughly enjoy this album. I would put it on par, on the same level as maybe their last album, maybe a little bit under, but I like it.
Yeah, I like this album for the most part. I don't think it's as good as The Sin in the Sentence. And I even today I was listening to The Sin in the Sentence, and that album is just a fucking banger from start to finish. And just there's so many incredible tracks on it to me. So I do like this album, though, for the most part. It feels just a little bit, part two of The Sin in the Sentence in a way. And it seems like, Trivium just, going, you know, the Sin in the Sentence really worked for them. I feel like it got a lot of people back into Trivium, and it's them going, all right, let's continue that. Let's just write more cool songs in these styles, and I think it works really well. I think the first 3 tracks are fucking awesome. All singles that they put out. What the Dead Men Say, I think, is one of the catchiest songs I've heard from Trivium in a long time. That chorus is so good. I love the breakdown, sort of crunchy section down in the middle of the song. But to me, I think a great addition to Trivium has been their new drummer, Alex Bent. He bringing, you know, there was a little bit of blast beats on the Sin in the Sentence, but bringing them even more onto this album in, you know, What the Dead Men Say and Catastrophist, I think it works so well. He is such an amazing drummer, and I think he's definitely the best drummer that Trivium has ever had, in my opinion. And I think, you know, just doing more interesting things on the drums really adds a lot to a lot of these songs, and so I really enjoyed those tracks. And Catastrophist, to me, I agree with you. At first I was like, I don't know how to feel about this song, and it was mostly the chorus. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this chorus. It was mostly like the vocals are kind of, I'm like, hey, I don't know, this is weird, but really has grown on me over time a lot, and especially like the middle section is, it just gets like more and more epic with the guitar work. I'm like, all right, this is Trivium, and I'm digging this. But then you have Amongst the Shadow and the Stones, which is just such a heavy fucking song. I love everything about that song. The guitar work is so well done. And then, you know, I would say from there on out, it's almost every other song to me. I really dig for the most part. I can't really get into Bleed Into Me. It doesn't do too much for me. And then Scattering the Ashes doesn't do too much for me either, for some reason. But The Defiant, I think, is really well done. I think that's a great chorus, and Matt Heafy sounds excellent on that track. And then Sickness Unto You's a pretty heavy one. And Bending the Arc to Fear, fucking thrash, baby. I love the way that song starts. Those riffs are so well done in the beginning of that. It just makes me want to jump in a fucking pit. It's just, I love when Trivium gets thrashy like that, and I think it works really well. And then the Ones We Leave Behind is a great track to end on as well. And I think there's some really great guitar work on there, some really great guitar, you know, melodies, and a little bit back and forth between Corey and Matt Heafy. It's a fine album for sure. I think I would probably slot it like right below the Sin in the Sentence, to be honest with you. It's got a bunch of songs I'll be coming back to. And you know, with Trivium, I think that's kind of all I'm looking for at this point. So anything else to say?
No, that's about all I gotta say. So,
Yeah, it's pretty interesting for the most part. Yeah, score
8 out of 10.
Yeah,
8.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 to 8.5 for sure. So yeah, let us know what you think of What the Dead Men Say by Trivium. Thanks for watching. See you later.